Hello everyone and welcome to another video. In today's video we're going to make a delicious apple cake, and so I'm going to start by showing you the ingredients you need. First you need 175 grams of flour. You need whole flour and we're using spelt flour, so 175 grams. Then you need 135 grams of almond flour. You also need 40 grams of another whole flour, so you can use oat flour for example, or buckwheat flour. We're using buckwheat flour. Then you also need sugar to sweeten it. So for this recipe you need 80 grams of sugar. We're using coconut blossom sugar. You also need 1.5 teaspoon of baking soda, so that's about 11 to 12 grams of baking soda. You also need a little bit of salt, pictured here, or shown here actually, and then 2 eggs you need. Also 50 grams of coconut oil or another kind of oil, so I still need to melt this. And you also need 170 grams of applesauce. So I have here 180 grams. So in these, little packages. You can also make your own, of course. So you can cook 2 to 3 apples with a little bit of cinnamon. And then for 20 minutes, and then after that you just mash the apples and you let them cool, so then you also have your own applesauce. You will also need 1 teaspoon of either lemon juice or apple cider vinegar. We're using lemon juice. And you also need a little bit oil to oil the plate. So that's it. Those are the ingredients for the dough. And then for the filling you need 75 grams or a handful of raisins, and also 5 or 6 dates, but we have only 3, so I soak them, so that's better, to mix everything later. You also need 3 apples like these for the filling. Also like 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1 or 2 teaspoons. You can also use 2 teaspoons if you like, cinnamon. You can also use half a teaspoon of cardamom powder. Also a little bit of vanilla powder, or here we have fresh vanilla, so you can use half of that. And also for the filling you need 3 tablespoons of applesauce again. So these are the ingredients for the filling of the apple cake. We start by adding the dry ingredients in a bowl. So here we're adding first the flour, and you don't necessarily need to do this step, but we're just doing this for the flour. Now we're adding the almond flour. Now the buckwheat flour, 40 grams. Now we're adding the baking soda, 1.5 teaspoon. We will also add the salt, a little bit of salt. Now we're adding cinnamon, 2 tablespoons. Cinnamon, 2 teaspoons. You can also add 1 teaspoon, whatever you want. Then the cardamom, half a teaspoon. Now we're going to mix the dry ingredients. Now we're going to mix the 2 eggs, and we will add the sugar with the egg mix. And after you've mixed it, we will leave a little bit aside so we can later put it on the cake before we put it in the oven. So we will add the coconut plus some sugar also. You can also add the salt to this mix, that's also possible. So now we will mix everything. Now we will add the dry ingredients to the wet ingredients, so to the egg mix. So we will also add to the dough mix the lemon juice and applesauce. As I've showed you at the beginning of this video, we have 2 packages. 180 grams or 175 grams. Very delicious. So this is all for the dough. And now the oil, we're using coconut oil, 50 grams. We've melted it. And voila, we'll add it and we will mix again. You can of course also mix just with your hands all the ingredients together. So then you need to mix it for about 10 minutes. Meanwhile, you can warm the oven, turn it on 180 degrees. You need to cut them in very small pieces. So really small. Raisins, add them together. And so we will also put a little bit of butter, this grass-fed butter. And we'll put the apple cake in here. Now we will put the apple in pieces. And so just make very tiny, small pieces, as small as you can, the smaller the better. And we will also add the apple pieces to the raisins and dates. And more apple because of course it's an apple cake. Now we will add 3 tablespoons of the applesauce also to the filling mix. You also will need to add the cinnamon and the cardamom and the vanilla to this mix, but we added it to the dough. But you can also add of course extra. And so then we will mix everything. So this is for the filling. So we add a little bit more of cinnamon to the filling and mix of course. Now we will put the dough in here. So spread it out evenly. You can also use like a round baking plate, but we're using this one of glass. So now we will add the filling to the dough, on the dough. And we also have some dough left because that we will put on top. Smells so good. So like this, and then we will close it off with the rest of the dough. So make sure to leave some more dough behind. And so now we will make a very nice cake with the rest of the dough. So we'll put it on top and it will be delicious. Last step is to put either eggs or oil or butter on the cake before we put it in the oven. So we are putting a little bit of melted grass-fed butter. And now we will put the cake in the oven on 180 degrees for 1 hour. After 1 hour we turn out the cake. It smells delicious and we will enjoy it with a cup of tea or coffee. So I hope that you liked this video. If you would like to see more videos, don't forget to like and subscribe and share it with your friends and family. See you in another video. Bye!